Welcome to the Woodward Pistons Podcast. It's your boy Detroit KoolAid, and I'm rocking it out with, my drum major isn't here today, but we're not letting you off the hook, Rod. We're not going to. Hey, Jeff, wherever you are, start it up. We're going to get it going. Hey, we got joining us today, the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. How you doing, bro? As always, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Had a long weekend, so I'm ready for the work week now.
Yeah, I got Jeff texting me right now talking about, man, I've never slept in my alarm before. Okay.
That's the first time you're getting old, when you're sleeping through alarm.
He's getting old, man. He's getting old. You know, I know he's been like settling down with his lady a little bit more, getting more focused on his work and everything. I think he's starting to become an older guy, an older dude now. What would you call that?
Settling down with your lady, spending some time with your lady. You're getting old and responsible. That's all it is.
Responsible. That's it right there. But no, look, man, Jeff works hard. He does a lot for this network. I know a lot of people might not see a lot of the things that he does behind the scenes, but you know, hey, that takes its toll. And on a weekend like Memorial Day weekend, hey, next time we get him in here, we're gonna have to ask him, bro, what happened? What took you out this weekend? But how was your Memorial Day weekend?
Everything was good. Got the gas grill out and had to do the first big clean of the season. But after that, it was good. Got some couple of steaks, some pork chops on there, some ribs. Did all right.
I'm about to make you so upset.
Can't make me upset.
So I avoided the charcoal. I am. I'm about to make you so upset. I did avoid the charcoal, but I didn't do gas grill. Do you know what we did?
What'd you do?
Yo, I feel so bad. We did the air fryer all weekend.
I'm not mad at that.
Okay. I was wondering. I was like, man, you know what? I don't have the gas grill yet. I was like, out of solidarity to my bros, I'm not going to do the charcoal. It was tempting. Look, I'm going to take pictures and post it. I had the charcoal. I had the lighter fluid. It was ready to go. But I was like, you know what? Let me try and do this air fryer. I'm trying to stay healthy. You know, until I get this gas grill, and then I'm gonna go crazy.
No, that's the way to go, and that's why I'm not mad at the air fryer. Is you're healthy if nothing else, and It's still quick. I mean, you can still get your stuff done pretty well, and I mean I'm not mad at that. Air fryer, cool. I can deal with.
I need the people to let me know, man. Let me know in the comments. Hey, are you cool with it? You gonna let me pass on this? Is it better than charcoal using the air fryer?
Hold on. What are we doing in the air fryer? Let me ask that first.
Listen,
are we doing chicken? Are we doing hot dogs? Are we doing ribs? What exactly are we doing?
I wasn't gonna say anything about the vegetarian nuggets that we had in there, but listen, no, look, we had chicken legs that were awesome. I'm talking about some nice, juicy, tender.
You're good with that.
Chicken legs. Look, and I usually, this is gonna sound crazy, I like more like the down south barbecue more than just slather all of the barbecue sauce on there and call that a barbecue. I like more the barbecue is in the actual. You know, you could taste it in the meat. You could taste a little bit of the glaze on the outside. That's how I like it. In the air fryer, man, we found a way to kind of perfect it that way. Honestly, man, crispy skin,
you're all good.
Barbecue glaze. Hey, and look, we had to get the Chicken Shack barbecue sauce. I don't know if you've had it. That's it, man. Like, I don't think. Look, I know everybody likes the Baby Ray's, Sweet Baby Ray's. I used to love it until Chicken Shack, man. Like, it's something about their barbecue sauce. But yeah, what else do we have?
As long as you got your own thing,
huh?
As long as you got your own thing, you're all right.
Oh, yeah. What else did I do in there, man? Hey, we had the Hebrew Nationals. Had to have the hot dogs out there.
Okay.
I opted for a mix of like beef and turkey for the burgers. And those, though, I couldn't air fry, man. We had to at least pan sear those. You know what I'm saying? It's only so many things you can air fry. And we had to draw the line at the burgers. And the salmon. Yeah. My wife does the best deep fried salmon.
Hey, you're healthy, which is better than anything else.
Yeah.
But if you knew where to draw the line, then you're all good with me. You get the pass from me.
Hey, you know what? That means a lot. Listen, people, I was coming in here like, yo, I don't know what to expect when I tell them I use the air fryer. So I'm glad that today I passed. But I don't know, man. He may get on me about my Keegan Murray take. He may not. I'm excited about this one, man. I'm really, really, really excited. I think that Keegan Murray is the most intriguing player in this draft. It feels like everybody else is not necessarily figured out, but they're put into their groups. The top three guys are considered the guys that can have a superstar type potential. The guys after that, they're saying can be kind of rotational, but Keegan Murray is a person that, I guess because his game is not necessarily exciting or one of the, the sexy players, to his game or whatever, he just kind of gets forgotten. In the beginning of the season, it seemed like Keegan Murray was somebody that was a hot name, and as the season has kind of progressed, I've kind of noticed he's waned just a little bit in terms of the popularity among, Pistons fans, among other people. But now it seems like I don't know where to gauge it. I'm looking at mock drafts. I'm looking at reports that says, someone can sneak up and take him in the top 3, top 4. And I'm seeing reports that say he can drop to as low as 7, 8, which just seems a little bit odd. I don't think he gets that low. A lot of teams will have to make a lot of bad mistakes, a lot of bad decisions.
And it can happen. It can happen.
Yeah. But I'm just setting the stage, man, for Keegan Murray. I believe that there's a lot to like here. I wanted to start by, before we get heavy into Keegan Murray, I had to ask you this because it just seems to be a hot topic right now. You were, I believe, the first that I saw, I talked to, I read that mentioned DeAndre Ayton as a possibility to the Pistons. You continue to say, listen, this is something to look at. This is something to look at. And here we are. You saw the odds that came out if he doesn't return to the Suns, that the Pistons are the top team that have the best odds of landing DeAndre Ayton. With that said, though, the playoff run, kind of what people saw between he and his coach, it's kind of made fans and some people kind of cool off on the idea that he's worth the bag. Now, we've talked about different culture, different team, different coaches, different expectations, different outlook, different leadership group. Being put in your best position. I believe that DeAndre Ayton would work out here, but this is what I wanted to ask you. I'm seeing a lot of fans. I'm seeing a lot of people start to discuss the possibility of potentially going after Mitchell Robinson, or if not that, Mo Bamba. And we've gotten some people in the comments that say, hey, why aren't y'all paying any attention to Mo Bamba? He's put up some pretty good stats. He's not going to cost a bag, and he might actually fit what we do here. I need you to help me and to help the fans kind of parse the difference between these players, the fits, the possibilities. Because when I look at it, I feel like DeAndre Ayton instantly speeds up this entire rebuild and restoration process and puts Pistons firmly, not competing for a play-in spot, not looking at 8 or 7, but this team should be like obviously, or for me personally, top 5. If they sign a DeAndre Ayton with the draft pick that they also have coming in and some of the other maneuverings that they got going on. What is this fascination with, if DeAndre Ayton is available, what's the fascination with Mo Bamba, Mitchell Robinson? I'm miffed.
See, I think the Ayton thing, some of it is going to be, yes, he's with CP3, he's with D-Book, so he's going to get his because it's just residual. You have too many good guys and too many good players, and teams can't double off of everybody. So you're going to get yours if you're Ayton. I think he has good skill there, but you need a rim runner here, and I don't think that Bamba is that rim runner that you need.
Right.
Mitchell Robinson very much is. And defensively, what I've seen from Robinson, from Bamba, is a little bit better than what I've seen from Ayton, because you want that fierce rim protector. So Robinson is right in that conversation. It's just, can he fit along with everything else that the Pistons are doing? And Ayton may be the same thing. So if you're telling me I've got limits and I can't spend a full max and blow everything on Ayton, and I've got to go after either Robinson or Bamba, I lean a little bit more toward Robinson because I know there's raw talent there that can still be developed, and you can figure out what he can be. And he's just freakishly athletic. And so I could lean into that a little bit more. Bamba's not a bad consolation prize, but again, you've got to tell me everything, all of the other moves and how this stuff goes together before I tell you any kind of prediction about what next year looks like. Because if you're telling me it's that the pick is Mathurin and they're keeping Grant and you go get Mitchell Robinson, I feel a certain way. If you tell me the pick is Keegan Murray, they're trading Grant and they get another pick, and that turns out to be Mathurin, and you go out and you get Ayton, well, it's something completely, I feel different about that.
Yep.
So you got to tell me what the whole constitution of this thing looks like and what all of the moves look like. But Robinson, I'd very much go after. Ayton, I think, is just a guy, just his rebounding ability and his offensive skill set, I think can go well with what the Pistons are doing right now.
Yep. And I'm not miffed at them being a fit. I'm miffed at the proposed effect that they believe Ayton will or won't have over these other people. I believe in KoolAid, but I supremely believe much more in KoolAid plus Ayton. I don't know the possibilities of the Pistons necessarily getting him. You know, I don't know what the Suns are thinking right now. I know how it looks right now, but the GM is going to go and take a hard, long look at this team. And if Ayton fits what they're trying to do moving forward, then the Pistons don't necessarily have they don't have that choice. But when I look at Ayton, I see somebody who dynamically changes this team. And we talked about it before, that the expectations instantly change. For a consolation prize, yeah, I've been on record saying Mitchell Robinson. I like him. I like Mo Bamba, but I don't know. There's a certain aspect to his offense that, like you say, I don't know if it necessarily meshes well with what Cade Cunningham, Saddiq Bey, Killian Hayes are going to do. Like you said, this stuff all matters. It all kind of revolves around what happens in the draft, because we don't even know what other trades are going to happen in the draft to bring in a center or a big that we have no idea that they're even targeting or looking at. You know, so the draft is where it starts. I just wanted to more or less get your opinion on the three players, you know, on Ayton and his fit. I know you've talked about that already, but we haven't really talked about Mitchell and Bamba. And so I'm glad that you went into that a little bit more. I definitely believe that if either one of those two players, Bamba or Robinson, were signed here, I do believe that they would play a role. Obviously, they're not bad players. They're going to play a role. They're going to fit into a scheme. I believe that they're both easy to fit in players. It doesn't seem like Mitchell Robinson is out there asking or begging for his on offense. Feels like he's just kind of fitting into the gaps to where he belongs, trying to get his guys open. He reminds me, like, with his grit, like in the way that he plays and carries himself. I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but like the way Michael Curry would carry himself on the court. You know, it's just unbothered, unfazed. I'm here to rock you on every screen. I know they play different positions, but it just kind of has that same kind of feel to it. A smart, intelligent player on the court, and he got a little dog to him too. You know, I would love when Curry would start to show less of his coach demeanor and more of his dog. And I see that in a lot more, obviously, in Mitchell Robinson. So I don't know. I kind of like that fit if Ayton is not the guy. But look, man, I want Ayton. I want the fireworks. I don't care who they draft. I just want all the time in the world. I want the fireworks. I think that's what I'm going to start switching to get over my Jabari Smith withdrawals. So, you know, but
who?
Huh?
I've never heard you talk about this Jabari Smith. This is a new one that you're bringing up. Is he a prospect? Is he in this draft somewhere?
You know what?
Jabari Smith?
He might be. But Keegan Murray, as we move into this breakdown, Keegan Murray, man, he has me rethinking some things. I don't think that we've paid enough attention to who this gentleman is. When I look at this game and I call him a gentleman, it just has that feel to it. It reminds me of Saddiq Bey. When Saddiq Bey came into the league, there were questions about his athleticism, his speed. Is he more than just a shooter? Can he create? Does he have a mid-range? What can he do in the post? There were some certain questions that people had, even though they said his game is mature. It was one of the most odd things to me. They say, oh, he's from Villanova, he's NBA ready, and then these questions. And it's just like, his game in college, Saddiq's game in college, we didn't see, like some of the things we're seeing now, we didn't see in college. So some of those questions were warranted. This staff, and I'm going to continue to say this coaching staff, this front office, their vision, their development, man, that makes me a little bit more excited for a Keegan Murray than really any of the prospects we've kind of talked about or looked at so far. because of his measurables, because of his points per possessions in many different scenarios where he's actually outpacing Jabari Smith. I know that Jabari Smith has this ability to play more composed to his skill set. And I think that that's what makes people look at Keegan Murray sometimes and take a step back, because he can get outside of his comfort zone, where I believe he's more comfortable with, one dribble pull-ups, pump fakes, step backs, three. Sometimes you can get a little too much dribble, too much sauce, and his playmaking takes a dive. And I'm just trying to set the stage as we go into this Keegan Murray breakdown. Just some things that I liked, some things that I saw, and I want to just get your quick take on Keegan Murray.
Fundamentally sound. He's what you want now. He's kind of like Saddiq Bey in that 3-4 split, that he can play either one of those forward spots for you at 6'8", about 225, 230. Yeah. He's not uber athletic. And if there's one thing I would like to see the Pistons get in this draft, it would be an uber athletic type of guy. If you can point to things and say, all things being equal, what do the Pistons lack in this? A guy that's just getting to the rim and just dunking on people. That's blocking shots. That's getting out on the wing and doing stuff. And we talked about that last time with Jaden Ivey. So I think this is the next thing is do you want to have a bunch of guys who are just crafty, or do you want at least one guy who's just going to get out there and just be very athletic, that does stuff for you, that makes plays just because of his athleticism? Could be a Mitchell Robinson. It could be, but when you look at Isaiah Stewart, not necessarily that, not particularly athletic or jumpy or springy. Cade's not that. Saddiq's not that. Jeremy Grant's not really that. He's a different type of athletic, kind of long and rangy, not so much bouncy. So I think they could go and get that, and you can find another guy who can do that somewhere. But if you're looking at Keegan Murray, he's very much not that. He fits in with the rest of these guys in kind of their style. And I think I said this last time too, is that when they're putting this roster together, and if you look at the roster construction, it is these very kind of nice guys, not nice to a fault, but nice to, that's the profile that they're looking for in these guys. So I think he would very much fit in that same mold of what they're looking for this roster to be. And obviously the biggest knock on him is the age, and he's 22 and blah, 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 blah. I mean, you're not trying to hold this guy until he's 35. This isn't, we're not talking 3 contracts down the road and you're losing a couple of years on that. This is more of, is he going to fit athletically and culturally with what they're doing right now? And if that's the case, then yeah, let's go.
Yep. And that's the thing with his athleticism. There were players where I'm saying, man, I need you to be a little bit more athletic. Then there are players that I'm like, oh, man, he got a little bit more bunnies. He has a little bit more hops. He has a little bit more quick jump, his rebounding, especially on his rebounding. I'm glad that you mentioned his height and weight, 6'8", 225. In about 31 minutes per game this year, the 23.5 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game, which, his job wasn't necessarily to be the facilitator. He shot 55.4% from field goal and 39.8% from three, about 40% from three on 4.7 attempts. That's a heck of a season. He had a crazy jump from 18 minutes a game of his freshman year when he was kind of behind Luka Garza and some other players, to his sophomore year where he took the reins with a little bit more freedom. And I saw some things grow in his game, including his ability to get to the rack and dunk on people. When he's able to set people up with the hezzy or with the pump fake and such, I didn't necessarily like as much, and I think this is what you were alluding to, his ability to just take somebody off the dribble if that's what's needed. We talked about, Cade Cunningham being, the ball being pressured out of his hand. And the maturation of Saddiq Bey, the growth of Jeremy Grant, we saw in certain games when they tried that against Boston right before the All-Star break. Saddiq Bey and Jeremy Grant were able to handle the pressure. They were able to take the ball and facilitate and make plays. That is one area of concern. And I know that we've been trying to cover these angles from if we draft them, how do they fit? How do we master weakness? That is one area of concern that I'm hoping within the development staff that they focus on, like I believe they have with Saddiq Bey. So we've seen this type of growth with Saddiq Bey, ball handling, playmaking, being able to get to the rack and make plays. So I'm hoping that if Keegan Murray was the pick, that's something that they are focusing on with him so that he doesn't wind up stifling or positioning himself into a pretty good role player. I believe if he can add this playmaking, even without the athleticism, because you can't really teach that, but if he can get the playmaking, the ball handling down in the half court, improve that aspect of his game, I believe he brings a whole lot. One of his major strengths, scoring at the rim, whether that be in transition, whether that be in the post, whether that be that hezzy or pump fake, one dribble, two dribble to the rack, coming off slashes. He knows how to score in the paint, man. Like volume score. I was looking at the box scores and such, looking at the games, and it wasn't as if he was forcing too much. Like you said, fundamentally sound. But this guy can score. If he was drafted by the Pistons, from this aspect of his game, the scoring, what is it that people should be looking for? What is he going to add, in your opinion, right away?
That he can just score in a lot of different ways. And you mentioned scoring in the paint just from three. And I think that's what they needed, was a consistent guy getting 2 feet in the paint and being able to do something with it. We saw Saddiq try to take that challenge on too. Frank Jackson to a degree, Jaime was trying to do that. You just need somebody who can score. If Cade is going to set you up and Cade is getting double teamed, can you score the ball? And with all of the commentary about Jeremy Grant and how many shots he took and how many ISOs and everything else, I think you just need versatility in that lineup with how you're going to be able to score. And it's not just calling ISO, everybody get out the way and let Jeremy work. I think there are other ways that you can do it too. And yes, there are times that you're going to need that, but you want the variety of saying, we're not going to go ISO here. We can figure out other ways to score the ball besides just going ISO and moving to the corners. So that's what I think that he brings, is the diversity of scoring, the ability to score. And I mean, dude, that's 20-something points a game. That's in college. That is not easy to do. There aren't a lot of people who average 20 points a game in college on a big Power 5 conference team. That average 20. You got to put in some work. Yeah, that's work. That's work.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that gets me just a little bit, man. When I look at him, and you bring up something very, very interesting about, in situations that just aren't ISO, what type of player is he going to be? And that's what made me very, very intrigued with him. We have a lot of these players that are on this team, and for all their talent, for their athleticism, Sekou just couldn't figure out how to play basketball. Mm-hmm. It feels like Keegan Murray, is almost the anti to that. This guy knows how to play basketball, though he's not necessarily gifted with the athleticism of Sekou. I saw Keegan Murray just be able to score in a plethora of ways. Some of the spurts and flashes that we've kind of seen from Isaiah Livers, I feel like Keegan Murray brings that times a million. Like, it's just supercharged. Like, it's what he does. I know Livers is working through some things, his injuries, getting his stamina, wind, and awareness, things back. And I hope that he can be that type of player more consistently. But with Keegan Murray, I loved his ability to not necessarily have to have plays called for him, just a slashing, cutting type offense. And, I saw one review where they made mention to the fact that he didn't get a lot of space to play in. A lot of his plays were just muddied up in the middle, and he was dunking some of these things. In the NBA, we talked about how the space has helped Cade Cunningham. We talked about how the space has helped Saddiq Bey. We talked about how the space would definitely help a Jaden Ivey. We covered them. If you didn't get a chance to see it, people, definitely go back to last week's. We covered Jaden Ivey and in all the different ways he would help us, in the ways that this team could help kind of develop or mask some of his weaknesses. But with Keegan Murray, his offensive potential, he was the most efficient post scorer in college basketball. He was the let me see here. 60% at the basket. That's 8% higher than what Jabari Smith had. 8% higher. 60% at the basket for a 3-4 combo. In the NBA, with this type of a spacing, with his ability to score one-on-one and attack mismatches, I like what I'm seeing here. I really do. That's one of the things that I like the most. And I do. What do you believe that the NBA spacing brings to Keegan Murray's game at the next level?
No, I think it works for him because he's an inside outside guy that he can find the spots for his three, but then when he gets inside, he can be effective too. So the mismatches won't be there
Yeah.
at 6'8" playing power forward, and probably not even small forward very often either in the NBA. But he knows what to do with the ball. He can score, and I think that's what you're looking at and say that's the positive is whatever happens, he can figure out a way to score inside or outside, or creating his own shot and getting to the rim. When he's got a smaller guy on him, if he's playing three and he's got a smaller guy, he's not afraid to post up. And that's what I liked in looking at some of his film too, is he'll put a body on you and he'll get to the rim and he'll do something with the ball when he gets it. It's not just post. Oh, there's nothing there, I'm kicking it out. No, he's trying to score when he sees.
So his 60% at the rim is not just, some guys like Ben Wallace would have 60-70% at the rim and he's just dunking, a pass being fed to him. Keegan, he's shooting good from everywhere. Everywhere.
He's got some kind of limited post moves, but even when you're talking in the paint and at the rim, some of that is just inside the elbow where he's hitting a midi from right there. So I mean that factors into it. But again, I like the diversity and the variety of being able to score from different spots, driving and pulling up in the paint. I think that's a kind of lost art in the league now, is everybody's trying to get there. They pick up the offensive foul. But if you know where to pull up and not to get that foul, but you get a shot that's right in your bag, and we've seen Cade do that 100 times. I think if you can do that, then you can find a way in the league.
And I saw that he's capable of doing it. You mentioned two things that I was about to bring up as well. And I love the conversation of it. The ISO thing I was going to bring up, and so I'm glad you went there. But the way he seeks for his three-point shot is what reminds me of Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey shoots the ball so confidently. He looks for it like it's his layup. He looks for it like it's his bread and butter. And I loved seeing that type of confidence from Keegan Murray. I like seeing his mechanics, his shooting mechanics. He didn't seem fazed by the defenders running out at him. They would set a high screen for him. He would just run around the high screen, catch it even further out, and just shoot the ball, and it's there. I wish he was a little bit more consistent. He would have games where he would go 4 for 4 for 3, 4 or 7, but then he would go 1 of 4, 1 of 5, 1 of 6, and then have those cluster of games. And with a young player, he had the jump that he did. Overall, he still shot pretty well, but that was just one area for me from the shooting standpoint for looking at areas of concern or places of development. Just hoping he can be consistent, because we do see the inconsistencies out of Saddiq Bey too, as it relates to three-point shooting, and I believe they'll get better though.
Yeah, I think that's just the league itself is adjusting to the league, adjusting to playing as many games as you are in a confined, condensed time frame to just weighs on your body. And I think they'll work with him on how to handle that a little bit better. But again, I think the raw tools are there, and his ability to score. Just dude can score. That's good with me. If you're telling me we got a number 5 draft pick and we're talking about a guy who it scores 20 points a game, I'm good with that. That he knows how to score, and this isn't some guy playing for Middle Tennessee State and playing in a smaller conference. This is a big conference with big men, and he found his way to get his buckets. I'm not going to complain about that.
Nah, I can't at all. And his rebounds. I love that aspect about him. It looked like he sought out the rebounds. I know offensive rebounding wise, he was at about 3 offensive rebounds a game. And he was really, really good at the putbacks as well. That is something I believe this team lacks sometimes. We struggle for rebounds, even at our big positions with Jeremy Grant and Beef Stew. I believe that he does bring that right away. It's just for all the good we're talking about. I'm also sitting here thinking about just, like you said, how much impact and a highly athletic, consistent player would bring to this team and to this lineup. We saw it when, and I don't want to get off topic with Keegan Murray, but hey, it is what it is. It's part of the conversation. When Hamid Diallo was on, we saw the impact. That athleticism, people could not make up for him. He's going backdoor catching lobs. He's coming down the middle lane. And there's some players they know I can step up and kind of show, and it's going to make it difficult for them, and they may miss the layup. Hami, it's like you don't even see defenders do that to him. And so just the sheer nature of having a player like that who can be consistent and who can put consistent pressure, it's like, whew. But obviously, you know, if we wind up with Keegan Murray, you know, these are some things to like, man. You know, his rebounding definitely impresses me. It does.
Yeah, and he might be a little deceptive in that 6'8", is that he's maybe taller than bulky. And you if you think Saddiq Bey, you think he's a little bit more bulky. You don't think of him as being tall and rangy and lanky like a Jeremy Grant. And maybe Keegan Murray just is a little bit more of that with his reach. And I forgot to look at his combine measurements.
Yeah.
I want to see what his reach is or his wingspan is.
I'm gonna bring up his defense now because I know we talked a lot about his offense. If you're gonna play for the Pistons and for Casey, especially if you're gonna look up the reach or his combine measurements, definitely we could bring that up at any time. But with his defense, I look at stocks. If you guys don't know what that is, that's steals plus blocks. I love to look at that. It's not necessarily an indicator of how great a defensive player is, but it can show what type of motor or instinct or awareness this player may have on the court. And Keegan Murray, he averaged 3.2 stocks. That's 1.9 blocks per game and 1.3 steals per game. He has this crazy awareness on the court, man. As a help side defender is where I believe he excels the most. I don't necessarily feel he'll be as effective in a switch as Beef Stew was on the perimeter, but he's serviceable. But I really, 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 really loved his ability to defend his guy, his position, the threes, the fours. I saw, you know, the highlights and the clips in the game against Michigan, and he held his own. You know, he's down there battling against Hunter Dickinson and on some plays. He's bringing the double teams. He's ripping and running all over the court where, he's able to bring a double team and also get back to defend his guy. The stocks where that plays a big role is his ability in the rebounding, his ability to get out into transition. He's able to turn defense and offense very, very quickly. I don't know how much of that, he's going to do in the NBA. I believe on the Pistons, their style of play fits what he does on that end. So from defense, his ability to get a block and go up the court or pass it up the court, or his ability to play the passing lane and take a ball, the ball, full length of the court, get a layup, get a dunk, get the right pass. That excites me about him. But I needed a little bit more help, and I want people to tell me in the comments as well. His defense, what is there to like? What is there to love about his defense beyond his instincts and his awareness in the passing lane and as a help defender?
Yeah, I think he just gets there on when he's the help defender. I think he just gets there, and again, that length is there. That he can block some shots. He's not gonna be like an Ayton or a Bamba or anybody that we talked about earlier. He's not that, but right. I think he can be effective in coming across and helping and just being an asset there. So I think again, not uber athletic, not going to be like a Hamid Diallo in the passing lanes, but he can hold his own. And when you look at those stock numbers, then I think that's something that can be helpful too.
Yeah. I liked how he was able to play aggressive. He fouled way little for the amount of blocks and steals and rebounds and things that you see him put up. 1.9 fouls per game. We talked about that with Jaden Ivey as well. Jaden Ivey was 1.8. I would have liked to see a little bit more out of production defensively out of Jaden Ivey, but I believe the measurables and what he's shown towards the end of his season, as well as the early combine results for Jaden Ivey, that's an intriguing player there. With Keegan Murray, he was aggressive defensively, and he didn't foul a lot. There were plays where he left some things on the floor to be questioned, but I think that those are players in situations who aren't being coached by a staff who's saying, I'm trying to put you in your best possible position. What are there any, with Keegan Murray, I feel like it's such a hard player to actually do a breakdown of because he's just fundamentally sound. You see what he's not necessarily good at. But do you believe that he has the ability to have a Saddiq Bey type jump if the Pistons drafted him and the development staff went to work? Let me see there. It looks like it might have cut out. Wanted to get Rod's opinion on what we think Keegan Murray will be in the NBA. And as I continue to look at this thing over and over and over and over again, I do believe that with this development staff, with what Coach Casey has shown to be able to do, which, look, man, people try to give him a bad rap. They try to give him a bad rap. They say that, hey, he hasn't developed anybody, but you hear players in the NBA say, as well as Cade Cunningham, Ashton, and Cannon say that, you know, Dwayne Casey, he brings a lot to these players. Now, whether we see the results on the floor as it relates to wins and championships and things of that nature, look, I am definitely hoping that we get there. I don't know if Coach Casey is that coach to get us over the hump for a championship, but as it relates to our younger players, as it relates to, you know, making sure these guys are getting to the spots that we want them to get to, I do have a little bit of faith there. You know, it was a little disappointing with Sekou, but that also wasn't a Troy Weaver pick. As it relates to the Troy Weaver picks, it seems like these guys are responding to what Coach Casey is trying to implement for them. Killian Hayes, he's somebody that I believe as he's gotten the time, as he's gotten through injuries, as he's gotten the ability to kind of learn the NBA style of game, as he's gotten the ability to play through a lot, Killian Hayes has been somebody that's shown that what Coach Casey is trying to implement is bettering his game. Saddiq Bey we talked about earlier in the podcast, Saddiq Bey went from a guy who we were thinking, hey, we got our new Luke Kennard. That's what people were believing. Oh, he's just going to be a more efficient Luke Kennard. That is what people were talking about when we first got him. We didn't see the potential for the ball handler that Saddiq Bey is showing to be. His ability to get to the rim, his ability to play in the intermediary game, his ability to pick and pop, shoot, his ability to take over and play from the top of the key. These aren't things that we thought we were getting from Saddiq Bey. And so as we talk about Keegan Murray, that's why I wanted to be able to get a feel for who can he be in the NBA. And I want you guys to tell me in the comments, what do you believe his floor is going to be? What do you believe his ceiling is going to be with Keegan Murray? We're going to start off next pod with Rod, with Jeff as well. He'll be here. And we're going to talk about Keegan Murray just to kick it off. Make sure we give Mr. Jeff Freddy's thoughts in on this as well. But I need you guys to help us out offensively, defensively. What do you believe he's going to be? For me, yes, I'm going to keep echoing it. I believe he has the potential to be some of what we see Saddiq Bey be. I really do. Defensively, I just want to see that dog in him, and he has that motor. You know, he doesn't really turn it off. But there are times where he looks lost in the playmaking department, as well as when there are switches and picks and rolls and having to drop down to defend a cutter and things of that nature. These are things that I believe are more scheme, more schematic, and also the players that you're playing with matter. You know, all these guys, you know, when Cade Cunningham was coming out of college as well, there were knocks on him, and a lot of those knocks go to who he was playing with. And I don't want to disrespect their teammates or anything, but the talent matters. The talent really does matter. Who you're playing with, it matters. What really excites me about him, I know he's an older player, but what a lot of people state with Jeremy Grant is, do you want an older player that's going to command a larger salary just for the sake of having a mature player on the roster? If the Pistons draft Keegan Murray, I believe that makes Jeremy Grant extremely expendable. This is a player that you can slot right into some of the same plans that you have, and I believe offensively already has a little bit better instinct, though he might not be a better NBA scorer right away. His instinct to score is there already. You can see it. He is a natural scorer. His points per possession in a lot of different scenarios, including the post, they're just awesome. They're awesome. So, you know, I want to see what he can do with this staff. I want to see what Keegan Murray can be. You know, if they wind up drafting him, I want to see what direction they go in with Jeremy Grant. So if Keegan Murray's here and they make that trade with Portland, you know, what do they do if they already have a Keegan Murray in the roster? Do they go guard? Do they go big? You know, let me know down in the comments. We'll definitely discuss it on the next pod. As it relates to the fit next to Cade, I believe that this offers because we got to get into it every time, man, that K zone. We got to always ask the question how it fits. As it relates to the K zone and the fit of Keegan Murray next to Cade Cunningham, I see a guy who's just going to add another fundamentally sound intelligent, like highly intellectual basketball player on the court. Somebody who's going to put himself in a position to help Cade Cunningham succeed. Somebody who's going to put themselves in a position to, all right, I see Cade Cunningham, a double team might be coming up for my player. I'm not going to just sit in the corner. I'm going to cut a baseline. So he's going to add some things right away. I know that there's a lot of people who believe he's not exciting, he's not flashy, he's not athletic enough. But if the Pistons were to draft him, he's not going to be a player that you're going to be disappointed with. He's not at all. There are some areas of concern, which we talked about, but it's fit with Cade. I mean, think about it. What's not to love? What's not to like about it? You know that if he's catching the ball on the three-point line, that he's going to have an opportunity to hit this thing at a 30 or 40% clip. Hey, and I think we got a ride back.
All right.
I tried to carry it along, man. I was talking about his fit next to Cade and some things to like, as well as what I wanted to ask you. What do you see his NBA ceiling being? Who do you see him being in the NBA, like a player comp?
I don't have a good player comp for him. And we got to wrap too because I got to run. I don't see a good player comp for him because I think he can. I'd have to think about a good player comp because he has that good 3-4 kind of smoothness. But again, it's not a power game that he's going to play. He just kind of makes a way for himself. If I think of a good player comp, I'll let you know one. But that's the good read I have on him.
Yeah, I was telling the people, I'm hoping that arc is similar to Saddiq Bey. I didn't know what Saddiq Bey's play arc was. I was telling the people, look, when we drafted him, people were saying, what? We traded Luke Kennard for him? And then when people started to settle into it, they said, well, maybe he can be a more consistent Luke Kennard. Now we look at Saddiq Bey and we're like, no, that's just Saddiq Bey. That's just Saddiq. He's a hooper. He's a baller. He can dribble. He can in between. I'm putting 50. I'm putting 40. I'm putting 30. He's a multi-dimensional, multifaceted scorer. The ways that we talk about Saddiq Bey today, I see a lot of those shades in Keegan Murray's game already. Not that he's going to come in and have that type of impact. That's
probably the best comp I got. That's probably the best comp I got is Saddiq Bey. And you hate to do comps on younger players because, there's still more to go. And with Saddiq, we certainly say there's more to go. He's got more to his game that he's got to get to. Yeah. But I think he is kind of like a Saddiq Bey and checks the boxes. Not superbly athletic, good from three. He'll do something with you in the post if he gets down there in the phone booth with you.
Got a little sauce. Got a little bit.
Yeah, a little something there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. That's the hope. If Keegan Murray is the pick, my hope is there. I also believe if Keegan Murray is the pick, that makes Jeremy Grant extremely expendable. Extremely expendable. I asked the people to let us know if Keegan Murray is the pick. Are you more inclined to say, all right, let's get Jeremy Grant to Portland, or do you believe if Keegan Murray is the pick that there's a fit for Keegan, Jeremy Grant, and Saddiq Bey on this team?
So here, and this is the last point, and I'll kind of caution people on thinking that Jeremy Grant is very much, he's a 20-point a game NBA scorer. We're talking about Keegan Murray being a college scorer and hitting 20 points. Jeremy Grant's a 20-point NBA guy. And defensively, his ability to guard multiple positions is the key there. But his ability to get a bucket and just ISO, go get a bucket, I think is highly, highly underrated. And people didn't give him enough credit for that. Mm-hmm. And I think he's an established veteran. So if you trade Jeremy Grant, you're kind of turning back the clock on your rebuild because you're taking a young guy who's going to need a couple of years to get to that point, a few years to get to the Jeremy Grant point at least. And we see that it took Cade Cunningham, as masterful a college career as he had, took him a couple of years. Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, took them a couple of years to kind of figure things out in the league. So if you're trading Grant, it's not just this apples to apples thing and Keegan Murray's going to step in and figure it out tomorrow. It's going to be some adjustment time in trying to get him right. So that's what I got.
Hey, you know what? And I appreciate that. I appreciate the insight and that perspective, because those are things to think about. Jeremy Grant brings so much more defensively than people want to give credit for. So if you're trading him, this team isn't one that we're looking at saying, oh, they're going to firmly compete for potentially a playoff spot, but probably a play-in at best if it's no Grant here next year, depending on what other moves, corresponding moves that they do or don't make. But Rod, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you jumping back on too. I think you answered two of the more important questions.
All right. Hey, appreciate it. We'll do it next week.
Definitely, bro. Hey, I'm gonna get that gas grill. We're gonna get it going soon.
We're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna do it.
All right.
Definitely. And look, as we close up here, as always, appreciate the legend. We're gonna make sure we get that drum roll going next time. But you heard him talk about it here. The player count, what we're hoping if Keegan Murray's a pick, Saddiq Bey, man. But let me know. We're gonna think of definitely an older player, an arc, someplace that you think Keegan Murray can get to. What things do you like about his game? What things don't you like about his game? If he's the pick, what do you believe he brings? Definitely, man, have the conversation. Let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know where I'm right. I believe that if Keegan Murray is that guy, you know, the question I wish we could have asked or gotten answered and we'll ask this next time is, how is the fit if we don't trade Jeremy Grant? So if you're saying that we're still dependent upon Jeremy Grant's ISO scoring and we're still dependent upon the fact he can guard and defend successfully multiple positions, how do we make them fit? I think that's going to be the fun question for next time, definitely. But, hey, as it relates to the NBA, I definitely want to get some NBA talk in here before we close up that series. Y'all got to let me know, how was the Boston-Miami series to you guys? What do you think about the three-point shot by Jimmy Butler? I got my own thoughts and feelings about that. I feel like in that moment, that was the shot you got to take, man. I know that a lot of people are split on it, but that's the shot you got to take. It was Jimmy Buckets. They were in that position because of him. This team battled through a lot of different injuries. I talked about it with our NBA representative here at Woodward Sports, Sean from Half Court, as well as Mr. Jeff Iafredi. We talked about, before that series started, exactly what we were going to see out of Boston and Miami. And neither one of them disappointed. I believe from the start it was going to be a 6 or 7 game series, simply because Jimmy Butler and his band of merry men was just going to battle through. Every night it seemed like Jimmy Butler and somebody else stepped up, whether it was Bam, which you want to see a little bit more consistency out of him. They win this. They win that series, or at least have a much better outlook if he's bringing it more consistently. The game that Jimmy Butler kind of went out early, they won because of what Bam Adebayo was doing. So you want to be able to see him be a little bit more consistent in that series. It probably gives him a little bit more punch, but you can't take anything away from what Boston was doing, man. That big three they got, and you got to call it a big three, and Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. Sheesh, man. I think they're going to give, the Warriors a hefty push. I do believe the Warriors are going to get them, but you can't sleep on Boston, man. We're not going to do what people did to the Pistons years ago. I don't think that the Boston Celtics are facing as uphill a battle, and I do believe that they have some pretty good individual talent on their team as well. A really, really, really sneaky, underrated addition there was Al Horford. You saw him make timely block after just clogging up the middle of the lane. That's a way that Miami wins a lot of their games, just being something in the paint, being physical, throwing people around, blocking shots, making sure that people know that you're there. It was a overall just complete appreciation of basketball the way that we are used to seeing it played. It wasn't as high scoring all throughout as you see some of the NBA, and you saw people out there that looked like they really cared. Man, Marcus Smart, shout out to him. He's going to be very, very key in this next series. The perimeter is going to be something that they're going to have to really, really continue to attack to make it difficult for guys like Klay Thompson, who started to get busy, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, among other players on that team. So it's going to be an exciting series, and it's going to be exciting finals. Who do you guys got? I believe it's going to be the Warriors in 7. I do got that going. I believe there's going to be a couple games where Tatum and Brown get busy. But overall, the Warriors got a whole lot of firepower that I believe is just too much to overcome. And Steph Curry, look, we know what he's fighting for. We know what he's going for right now. This is about legacy defining right now. He needs that Finals MVP award. Go out there and win it, man. Seriously, this is the year to prove it. A lot of players don't get opportunities like this to go out there and put the cherry on top of their own destiny and their own legacy. Even LeBron James still is dealing with people who are looking at previous failures in the finals to be able to define who he is as a player in all time. Yeah. So look, Steph Curry, go out there, do your thing, man, get busy. But Jason, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, go out there and make it difficult, man. Go out there and win this thing if you can. But like I said, I want to hear what you guys think. Who's winning this finals? I got the Warriors over the Celtics in 7, 4-3. Players to watch: Steph Curry. Steph Curry. This is his finals to win or lose. Straight up. It's his finals MVP to win or lose. There's no other competing superstar that can take this thing from him. If they don't win this series, I know what the narrative will be. So, hey, it's going to be a lot to look forward to. I'm excited about it. Look, next, we're going to talk about Shaedon Sharpe and Benedict Mathurin. We got a double dip next time. It's going to be dope, man, because I believe that these players offer a lot, but they're mysteries as to what we believe that they could truly be if the Pistons were to take them at number 5, yo. So let me know ahead of time what you're seeking, what you want to hear about it, what you want us to cover, so that we can make sure that the breakdown is covering exactly what you, the people, want. So look, Shaedon Sharpe, Benedict Mathurin, let us know what you think. Their pick at 5, their fit at 5. Let us know what you think of Keegan Murray as well. Shout out Jeff, shout out Rod, shout out to the whole Woodward Pistons crew. Shout out Woodward Sports. Till next time, yo, I'm Detroit KoolAid for the Woodward Pistons Podcast.